evening and welcome to your Thursday, May 2, 2024 edition of the Evening News. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Learn from Guyana's experiences, says President Ali, as Africa launches Living Soils Initiative. GPL to get over US $180 million upgrade of weak transmission and distribution system, says VP. Whichever high school you get, you'll be great, says MANICKCHAND, as students write NGSA. M&CC to remove more illegal vendors from business premises in Georgetown, and Grove man dies after being struck down by speeding cop. Now for the news in detail. The continent of Africa is poised to assume a much larger global footprint in shaping a more resilient and food-secure future for all. This is according to President Dr. Irfaan Ali, who spoke at the launch of the Living Soils Initiative in Africa earlier today. Let's hear from Vanu MANICKCHAND.
Speaking virtually at the launch of the Living Soils Initiative in Africa, President Dr. Irfaan Ali, who is also the current chairman of the Caribbean Community, stated that this initiative will enhance Africa's food security and climate mitigation potential.
I'm confident that it coincides with and will contribute to a new era where Africa emerges as a powerhouse in global food production and climate change mitigation. Africa is poised to assume a much larger global footprint in shaping a more resilient and food-secure future for all.
The Living Soils Initiative, led by the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, ICA, aims to accelerate soil regeneration through a collaborative approach throughout the continent of Africa. According to President Ali, this initiative is not only transformative but also significant for Africa, where there is serious threats of land degradation and soil health and fertility is declining, thus affecting daily lives and agricultural activities.
This initiative offers an approach to addressing key environmental agricultural challenges facing the continent by focusing on regenerative agricultural practices that prioritize soil health and biodiversity. This initiative aims to combat land degradation, enhance food security, and build resilience to climate change. In Africa, where a large proportion of the population depends on agriculture for their livelihoods, and where soil degradation threatens the productivity of farmlands, the Living Soils Initiative represents a transformative opportunity. By promoting practices such as agroforestry, cover cropping, composting, and conservation agriculture.
Drawing from Guyana's own experience, President Ali, who is leading CARICOM's aggressive food security agenda, stressed the need for inclusivity and climate-resilient agriculture in order for this initiative to be successful in Africa.
Guyana's own experience suggests that projects should be inclusive. First, they should focus on supporting small farmers in participating countries. Second, the active involvement of women and youth should be integral in these projects. Women and youth constitute significant portions of the agriculture workforce in many communities. Projects should also promote climate-resilient agriculture. Climate-resilient agriculture incorporates practices and technologies that help farmers adapt to changing climatic conditions, such as extreme weather events, droughts, and shifts in rainfall patterns. I encourage greater use of organic inputs, the use of shade houses, the wider use of drip irrigation, and the introduction of resilient crop systems. This includes providing access to strong, stress-tolerant crop varieties and more nutritious staple foods to prepare for potential climate-related challenges. These interventions aim to boost agricultural yield, decrease soil erosion, improve water quality and quantity, and enhance the income and food security of beneficiaries.
Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu MANICKCHAND.
The 36-megawatt power ship, which will be connected to the national grid to improve power generation and ultimately end the current spate of blackouts, has arrived in Guyana. As we hear in this Andrew Carmichael report, preparatory work at Everton, East Bank, Berbice, Region 6, to accommodate the power ship is ongoing, but slightly behind schedule.
The power ship arrived in Guyana on May 1st. In the meantime, Preparations continued at the Demerara-Berbice Interconnected System (DBIS) at Everton Region 6, East Berbice Quarantine. The Guyana Power and Light has already commenced the construction of the interconnecting transmission line that will link the 36-megawatt power ship to the national grid. Zone Manager Ravinjo Jaganandan on Tuesday related that one of the biggest challenges was the clearing of vegetation at the site.
We have chosen this site as the most suitable location for the power ship. We have commenced work, which is the site preparation. We had to do a lot of clearing up and vegetation management. Also, we have to build a network to connect the power barge to our network. The ship will be dispatching 69,000 kilovolts at that level, at that voltage level. Hence, we have to construct a transmission line, a new transmission line, to interconnect and for us to dispatch power from the ship to our grid.
According to Jaganandan, the intention is to tap into the existing transmission line, which will enable GPL to access power at different load centers in Berbice and Demerara. The main objective is to minimize outages as a result of generation shortfall.
The ship would be outputting 69 kilovolts, so we are building the transmission line and we'll be tapping into one of our existing transmission line, which is our L21 transmission line. And now, at having the electricity at that voltage level, now we are able to access power from the ship at our various load centers across Berbice and Demerara. The main objective here is to minimize or significantly minimize outages due to generation shortfall. And what we are experiencing currently is a lot of load shedding done because there is a deficit between our generating capacity and our demand. So having this boost in our generating capacity would definitely significantly reduce outages or force outages, or what we call load shedding.
The utility company has been experiencing generation shortfalls due to an unprecedented rise in electricity demand, among other issues. The situation has led the government to procure a power ship to address the electricity woes until the gas-to-energy project comes on stream. Everton, on the east bank of Berbice, Region 6, is considered the most suitable location for the ship. GPL has signed a multi-million-dollar deal for the rental of the floating power plant for 2 years. The company has already paid a mobilization fee to the tune of $1 million. The contract further requires GPL to pay a fee of 6.62 US cents per kilowatt as a monthly charge fee for the power ship and a monthly operational and maintenance fee of 0.98 US cents per kilowatt based on electricity generated. GPL is also required to provide heavy fuel oil, HFO, for the operation of the generators on board the vessel. The contract was signed with Porter-based Urban Concession Investment. For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
Vanu MANICKCHAND joins us now to report that over US $180 million will be injected into upgrading the Guyana Power and Light's age transmission and distribution system, something which Vice President Dr. Barry Jagdeo has emphasized needs to be done to accommodate the increased generating capacity. Here is more.
The Guyana Power and Light is seeking an emergency priority funding to the tune of US $180 million to upgrade its aged transmission and distribution network. Speaking at his weekly press conference on Thursday, Vice President Dr. Bart Jagdeo declared that government has already made it clear that it will fund these upgrades, which will have to start immediately to accommodate additional power that will come into the system.
There is about another component running between 180 maybe to 250 million that would lead to critical upgrades in the distribution and the transmission system to ensure that the power, once we have more power, that we can take this power to Berbice, to everywhere else. The whole, like Georgetown, and that the transmission, the poor transmission system and the weak distribution system, replacing transformers, etc., wouldn't affect us. So then we will have power, more power, but still have blackouts because of the weak transmission system. So that is also a component that they are working on, and we will fund that too. We'll have to fund it.
According to Jagdeo, the funding for these upgrades could either come from the national purse or through a loan.
But we've indicated we'll have the funding ready. Even if it has to come from the budget, it has to be done.
You foresee, well, not this current budget as it stands, but do you foresee a return to the Assembly for supplementary funding?
There could be that. There could be that, or we could get it financed from a loan. Even if we have it funded from a loan, you still have to get the expenditure cleared in Parliament. It has to be done. It has to be done before the middle of the year. We have to get this done in time for the distribution of the power.
And who you may be turning to for the loan?
No, there are several sources now. We can probably go private now. As I said to you before, we're finding now that the private sources of funding are cheaper than the multilateral sources.
Only recently, GPL has signed a 2-year contract for a power ship to generate 36 megawatts into the national grid. The floating power plant arrived in Guyana's waters on Wednesday, and works are being carried out to set up the infrastructure to connect the power ship to GPL's distribution system at Everton in Berbice. In addition, the gas-to-energy facility will see a 300 megawatt power plant coming on stream next year using natural gas from offshore oil production activities in the Stabroek block. Reporting for the Evening News, MANICKCHAND.
Thousands of children across the country today began their National Grade 6 assessment, an examination which tests their knowledge in the 4 core subject areas and determines their placement for secondary schools. As we hear in this Michael Henry report, Education Minister MANICKCHAND has assured that wherever students are placed, the quality of their secondary education will be optimal.
A total of 15,488 pupils are writing this year's National Grade 6 assessment on May 2 and 3. The pupils are being tested in English language, mathematics, social studies and science. Minister of Education MANICKCHAND, during a live broadcast ahead of the exams, underscored that all the necessary educational materials, including textbooks and online content to prepare students for their assessments, were provided. For this year's assessment, the curriculum was consolidated to test the students up to Grade 5. These students were the first set who did the National Grade 5 Diagnostic Assessment. Meanwhile, the minister has assured pupils that they will benefit from a sound secondary education regardless of where they are placed.
Everybody's not going to get Queen's College, not because everybody's not bright, but simply because Queen's College has a limited number of seats. Only 150 children can fit there. Not everybody is going to get St. Ignatius because only 120 children can fit there. So what is our effort? Our effort is to make sure every child gets a solid secondary education, whichever school you go to. And we're working feverishly and hard to make sure that happens by building new schools, which you're going to see up in your villages and communities by mid next year. We're in the process of building at least 20 new secondary schools. We are training and retraining your teachers. We're giving the same resources to the teachers and the schools across the board that every school would get. The extracurricular programs are being implemented across the board. And so I want to say to you, whichever high school you get, you'll be fine.
The NGSA result will be available on or before July 5. Some 15,273 pupils from the 11 educational districts wrote last year's NGSA. Meanwhile, the Evening News caught up with a few students who shared their experience with today's exam.
I feel very nervous, but I know I could do it. I feel good, but I had nervousness. I was a little nervous. Say that to me? I was a little nervous, a little bit.
Why were you nervous?
Because because it was little easy. I survived though. I would say English because it was very easy, especially composition.
It was good. It was I was a little nervous. It was a little scary, but
What subject was scary?
English. Normally I'm really good at English, but this time, no. I want to get Queen's College or Roses. I heard Queen's College has a lot of good extracurriculars, and I want to try and join some of them.
Coming up, over 90 persons vying for seats on PPP's 35-member Central Executive Committee, and ExxonMobil will work with government to identify 20% of Stabroek block to be relinquished. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
What flavors does Oreo have around the world?
Oreo peanut butter.
Let me see. Oreo cajeta.
Here comes Oreo around the world, the promo that takes you on a family trip to taste the Oreo flavors available in Paris, New York, Mexico, or Rome. Register your packages at oreopromo.com.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
This Mother's Day, celebrate in style and give Mom the chance to win big. Simply top up with $1,000 or more for a chance to be one of 5 lucky winners of a brand new, fully stocked French door fridge with groceries worth over $550,000 each. One winner will be selected weekly from April 5th to May 9th. Start topping up today. Digicel, the network for everyone, everywhere.
Guys, I think I'm in love! Wow!
Yeah, I was looking at you too.
What? What are you talking about? I'm in the tiles. Where did you get them?
Oh, Mima Decor. Obviously the best tile store in Guyana. Come, let me take you there.
My kitchen, my bathroom, my floors. Mima Decor has everything. And the prices are great too.
So, yeah, I want to have a date now.
We can build on that.
What flavors does Oreo have around the world?
Oreo peanut butter.
Let me see. Oreo cajeta.
Here comes Oreo around the world, the promo that takes you on a family trip to taste the Oreo flavors available in Paris, New York, Mexico, or Rome. Register your packages at oreopromo.com.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. The People's Progressive Party is gearing up to host its 32nd Congress this weekend and will see some 93 candidates vying for a spot on the ruling party's Central Executive Committee. Michael Henry has the details.
The 32nd Congress of the People's Progressive Party is set for May 3 to 5 at the Arthur Chung Conference Center. Under the theme, Strengthen the Party, Defend Guyana, Unite all our people for progress and prosperity. This year's biennial Congress will see over 3,000 delegates and observers in attendance. Speaking at the party's weekly press conference from its Freedom House headquarters in Georgetown, General Secretary Dr. Barrett Jagdeo disclosed that over 90 persons will be vying for a seat on the new Central Executive Committee. the PPP's highest decision-making body.
First, all the delegates can vote for the 35 members of the Central Committee of the party. So they elect from those contesting, and in this case, 93 persons, they'd have to elect 35 members of the Central Committee of the party. Then they also have an opportunity to elect 5 candidate members who will be able to attend the Central Committee meetings but will not have the right to vote.
According to Jagdeo, it is the Central Executive that will subsequently vote on candidates for the party's leadership positions, including General Secretary.
At our Congress, we do not elect the General Secretary or the other secretaries of the party. The Central Committee will meet and then they will elect the General Secretary of the party and other secretaries. This has been in our Constitution and the practice from the very beginning. It's nothing new.
During the Congress, party members will get a report from the incumbent Central Committee and hear about resolutions submitted by groups, including some to amend aspects of the party's constitution. PPP members will also actively participate in 7 planned workshops in a number of areas.
There shall be 7 workshops where all 3,000 odd delegates and observers would have an opportunity to freely express their views and have those views documented so the views can then infuse the future programs of the party with those ideas that come out of the Congress. And those workshops relate to the strengthening of the party, number 1, politics and parliament, 2, social and economic policy, 3, 4 would be local government, 5, social media, a very important development in the world now, 6, the international situation, and 7, youth and gender.
The last Congress was held in 2016 when the PPP was in opposition. This year's Congress is being hosted ahead of the 2025 general and regional elections, where the ruling party will work towards securing another tenure in office. Michelle Henry, The Evening News.
The Georgetown Mayor and City Council will soon be issuing eviction notices to more illegal vendors, asking them to vacate from pavements and streets surrounding various business premises. Find out more in this Kamesi Slow report.
During a telephone discussion with this newscast, Town Clerk Candace Nelson revealed that 5 establishments in Georgetown have already requested the Town Council have vendors and encumbrances removed from pavements and streets surrounding their premises. Among them are Continental Agencies Limited, Camex Restaurant Incorporated, Popeye's Guyana Water Street location, and Terganal Paints Incorporated. Nelson explained that while it is unknown how many vendors will be affected, the City Engineers Department is working assiduously to resolve this ongoing issue. She explained that the municipality is in talks with these businesses to negotiate a timeline for eviction.
What I try to do in some cases, whenever possible, I try to write back these attorneys and ask for some time so that the vendors can sell their produce and then remove.
The 5th establishment in question is the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation. Despite previous warnings, vendors who piled their trade outside the hospital have failed to remove. The GPAC said it is prepared to institute legal proceedings if the council fails to ensure the vendors are removed. Only recently, the council removed vendors piling outside of Demico House in the Stabroek Market area. This was done in keeping with a court order. Similar court orders were granted in favor of a discount store on Regent Street, Georgetown, Monishwars Limited on Water Street, and Shamdas Karpalani located on Regent Street, Georgetown. Meanwhile, City Mayor Alfred Mentor has since acknowledged the challenges with illegal vending in the city. He said City Hall has to devise a better plan to deal with the situation.
We have some short-term plans as to how we could be able to use our streets. We had the parking meter as per se, and with those parking meters, we could have used our roads, we could have rented our roads and do different. So we have to work with those bylaws to figure out how we could be able to allow our vendors to go and come or use the streets accordingly.
I am Kamisi Slow reporting for the Evening News.
Oil giant ExxonMobil is expected to relinquish 20% of the lucrative Stabroek block later this year, and according to its Guyana president, Alastair Rutledge, they will work with the government to identify which part of the block to give up. Here are the details from Gerald Bryan.
Following a one-year extension last year, ExxonMobil is now expected to relinquish 20% of its Stabroek block holdings in October of this year. During a press conference on Tuesday, ExxonMobil Guyana President Alastair Rutledge was asked about this and whether the company has already identified which areas it will give up.
We have a good idea, but we haven't finalized that, and obviously we have to work with the government on the calculation of what the 20% represents and then the identification of the acreage, and the government confirming that it is aligned with the obligations in the contract. Relinquishment of acreage in the Stabroek block. That is scheduled to take place in October this year. That is when the next license renewal, prospecting license renewal takes place. And at that point, we will relinquish acreage back to the government.
Vice President Dr. Barry Jagdeo has said that the relinquished portion of the Stabroek block is likely to be included in the next bid round, expected later this year. According to Rutledge, the company will wait and see what is on offer before it makes a decision on participating in the next auction.
I mean, we'll look forward to that. We're always interested. We will wait and see what is actually specifically placed into that bid round and what the terms of the bid round are before we would make that decision.
The 2016 PSA between ExxonMobil and the previous APNU AFC government stipulates the relinquishment of 20% of its acreage in the Stabroek block. This relinquishment was due last year, but the U.S. oil giant secured a one-year extension. The extension was granted after the force majeure clause was applied due to the COVID-19 pandemic that resulted in lost time. Gerald Bryan, The Evening News.
A pedestrian was last evening struck down and killed by a vehicle driven by a policeman along the Farm Public Road, East Bank, Demerara. The dead man has been identified as 34-year-old Rupert Singh of Grove, East Bank, Demerara. Based on reports received at about 21 hours 40, a police constable was on his way to the mining town of Linden in his white Toyota Allion bearing registration PAD 6809 when he reportedly struck down Singh and drove away. Singh was picked up in an unconscious state by public-spirited citizens and taken to the Diamond Hospital where he was pronounced dead on arrival. However, on Thursday at about 6 hours, the police constable reported sick after claiming that he had suffered from a fractured hand and went to seek medical attention. At about 9 hours, the constable returned from the hospital with a 7-day medical certificate. Nevertheless, at about 13 hours 45, the policeman contacted one of his seniors and reported that he had struck a pedestrian on Wednesday evening and drove away. As such, the suspect was arrested at his home and is presently in custody assisting with investigations. His motor car was also impounded and is expected to be inspected by a certifying officer. And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Friday, May 3, 2024 at midnight for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed at 12 hours 35 on Friday, May 3, 2024, also for 1.5 hours.
T20 World Cup box office opens in Guyana and mixed results for West Indies men and women in T20 internationals. Details of these stories and more coming up in the Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp.
What flavors does Oreo have around the world?
Oreo peanut butter.
Let me see.
Oreo cajeta.
Here comes Oreo around the world, the promo that takes you on a family trip to taste the Oreo flavors available in Paris, New York, Mexico, or Rome. Register your packages at oreopromo.com.
Miners, welders, and contractors. Have broken parts caused you tremendous downtime? Do you need an extra heavy-duty, dependable welding machine that will get the toughest jobs done and can also double as a generator to power all of your tools? Well, your #1 industrial solutions provider Sylvies has you covered. We currently have in stock the Hobart Champion Elite Arc Welder and Generator. This capable electric start generator produces up to 11,000 watts of AC power to run tools, work lights, or backup power during an outage. It can simultaneously deliver 150 amps weld output and 8,000 watts of generator power and can run up to 14 hours on one 12-gallon tank of gas. This portable generator handles mild steel, stainless steel, and cast iron with a maximum thickness of ½ inch in a single pass. So what are you waiting for? If you can't make it to our 31 High and Hatfield Streets Georgetown location, we can deliver. Give us a call on 227-6226 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 or visit our website sylviesonline.com. Sylvies Industrial Solution, proudly serving Guyana for over 4 decades.
Did you know that when you leave your property unoccupied and unmanaged, it deteriorates much faster than you can imagine? Then before you know it, much of your hard-earned investment is wasted. At Hand in Hand Trust Corporation, property management is our business. Whether you travel for long periods, live overseas, or have several properties that require managing, let us at Hand in Hand Trust Corporation take care of this for you. Your property is safe with us. Hand in Hand Trust Corporation Incorporated, a member of the Hand in Hand Group of Companies.
In today's tough driving conditions, every engine faces 3 powerful enemies: engine heat, pollutants, and frequent short trips. Each factor is a direct cause of engine sludge, a buildup of dirt that can block vital oilways. This triple threat demands triple protection. Castrol GTX's Triple Protect Power is engineered to fight these 3 main causes of engine sludge.
What flavors does Oreo have around the world?
Oreo peanut butter.
Let me see.
Oreo cajeta.
Here comes Oreo around the world, the promo that takes you on a family trip to taste the Oreo flavors available in Paris, New York, Mexico, or Rome.